I've seen movie stars with giant air quotes that it's really been one of the more devastating things that have ever happened to them.
When you think of an actor to play Pikachu, be honest, you also think of a 188-centimetre Canadian named Ryan, right? Well, someone surely did, which is why Ryan Reynolds is playing Detective Pikachu in the brand new movie, Detective Pikachu, which explains why I'm here, the natural birthplace of all Pokemon, to find out how the hell that happened. Ryan Reynolds.
Hello, sir.
It's nice to meet you in Tokyo.
We made it.
We did, right?
Yeah.
Before we get into like your broader career and stuff like that, just let's Pikachu, right?
Oh, jeez.
Can you just put me in the room where somebody's sitting in front of you going, I see you as a 1 foot tall fuzzy thing.
Yeah.
How do you feel about playing that role? Because I feel like that meeting would be amazing.
It would be an amazing meeting, and I feel like I was robbed of that opportunity. Because I didn't know this, but they basically take the Pikachu character, they render it, and then they animate it to probably 50 other actors' voices, just culling lines from other movies. Somehow I guess they got to mine. I assume they didn't use Deadpool. Actually, it was Deadpool.
Really?
Yeah, it was Deadpool. It just wasn't any of the naughty words. But it's the greatest casting process on earth because there's none of the anxiety for any of the actors.
Right.
You don't know you're auditioning.
Bingo!
When Justice is out there filming, at least for some of it, you are feeding him your performance in an earpiece.
Yeah.
Is that to, because you have a background in improv, right? Is that to keep some of that energy?
It's to understand the chemistry. It's also that I like to phone things in.
Stay with me. Follow the bouncing ball.
I'm just on the other side going, is that how you're gonna do it?
We got ways to make you talk. Or mine. Pipe. Yes. Okay. I can. Shoving. Pushing. My problem is that I push people away and then hate them for leaving.
He's saying you can shove it.
What? I can shove it? Okay, that's it. No, we're switching roles. I'm bad cop. You're good cop. In my head, I saw that differently.
Your background in improv goes way, 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 way back to the beginning, doesn't it? Like that was sort of something you started as a kid.
Yeah, it was my kind of escape when I was a kid. That was what I did in Vancouver, British Columbia, and then when I moved to Los Angeles, I had no, aspirations of sitting down here talking to you as somebody who's working in films. I was hoping to join the Groundlings, which was a famed improv comedy group in Los Angeles.
I just love that you skipped over the Hillside years. There's like whole YouTube channels dedicated to this show that you did in Canada as a
Hillside,
kid.
my God, yeah, there's an oldie but a goldie.
I wasn't just hacking around. I didn't know you could play the guitar like that.
Hey, did you know Jimi Hendrix played guitar left-handed?
Who?
The story goes that a big reason why you got that role over like all of these other kids is because you did have those improv skills.
Yeah, I was able to, they didn't use scripts, so they just gave everybody a sort of scenario and we would go in and we would have to just make it up. And I was like, well, that's easy. They didn't have to be funny. I was like, oh, come on.
I can value add here. I can do the lines and I can be funny.
Yeah, exactly. So I got to just sort of goof around. They didn't want funny. That show was like desperately melodramatic.
I didn't mean to do that. I just got mad.
Yeah. That wasn't very nice.
It was so melodramatic that I felt like I was itching the funny bone. Like I was like, oh, this is so dramatic that it's hilarious. And then just super stoned college kids kept it on the air for the remainder of its run.
And they've been uploading it to YouTube ever since.
100%.
Why move to Hollywood in the first place? What was the thing that made you kind of pick up and move?
Well, it was harder to acquire a drug addiction in Canada.
Have you tried though? I mean, did you really give it a go? I mean, you got to commit to these things.
No, Hollywood was, my experience would obviously differ from a lot of other people's, but I found it to be a struggle. It's difficult, but it's difficult moving to any city. I didn't have a lot of friends or anything like that, so I immediately tried to immerse myself into that improv community in Los Angeles. I mean, I think it's the best acting school on earth, I really
Why?
do.
What's good about it?
Well, it really focuses on listening. Like you really have to listen, and so much of acting is putting yourself in other people's position. I mean, it's weirdly empathetic. You're forced to constantly think, what would someone like that say or do or feel in that moment? And then you're always listening to your partner. You're not supposed to ever say no in a scene in improv. You're supposed to say yes and so it was great. It's the best training I've ever had.
A big part of the appeal of that kind of early experience is being able to feed off a live audience. So when you're on set where there's this big apparatus around you, how are you still getting that feedback? How are you still kind of knowing that jokes are landing and stuff like that?
I've never had a scene in my life where I walked away and I was just like, nailed it.
Really?
No, never once.
Wow, why is that, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I've done this for 26 years. You start to kind of become your own worst critic. So most of the time I'm being hard on myself. And I've never had that. I would love that. I know actors that are just like, it's perfect. I'm like, oh, that must feel so great. Oh, you must sleep like a baby at night.
You've talked a little bit about like anxiety and how anxiety feeds into your life. And one of the things I read about is in the early days when you're doing Two Guys, a Girl in a Pizza Place, that you chose to do the warm-up. Was that about building up a relationship with the audience to kind of get rid of the anxiety? Was that what was going on there?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, back then I really didn't have a support system that I do now. I had no outlet for that. So to sort of deal with this inner kind of hurricane that was happening, I would just get on the, jump up into the audience and just do the warm-up. And it was just a great way to kind of expel some of that super anxious energy and into something productive.
Do actors get too much attention?
Oh, yeah.
It's weird to ask in the context of an interview. I just realized.
No. I think actors do get too much attention, good and bad.
Yeah.
And they're both kind of toxic. It's a little different now because I think like the movie star system is sort of fading away, as opposed to, oh, so-and-so's in a movie, I'll just go see anything they do. That the audiences are a little bit more discerning nowadays, I think, about that. And I think it's inevitably kind of healthy.
Why do you think it's healthy though? Like, I mean, from a layperson standpoint, and for the purposes of this, I'm playing layperson. It would benefit you to have that system in perpetuity.
You're a beautiful lay.
Thank you. I certainly try to be.
Right?
The night is young.
It's like morning, but it is young.
It is.
There's plenty of day in front of us. I don't know. I just see that, a lot of attention, good and bad, is probably not great for anybody. Some people thrive on it. Some people really handle it very well and integrate it into who they are in a way that works incredibly well. And then other people don't. I've seen movie stars with giant air quotes that it's really been one of the more devastating things that have ever happened to them.
You're glad it's not bring your daughter to work day, huh?
Just one of the last things I want to do before I leave you is that you did something really incredible a few years ago where you ran the New York Marathon to raise money for the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Research for Parkinsons. Got it out in one breath.
Nailed it.
Why was that important for you to do that?
My father had Parkinson's. He died a few years ago, but he struggled with Parkinson's his whole life. And my father's very, very proud man. I mean, I think he said the word Parkinson's to me maybe twice in his in the 25 years that he had the disease. So not unlike how I deal with some issues surrounding anxiety, I think more people talk about it, the more I see guys like my father, who is a sort of the archetypal strong man, the guy who, don't talk about your feelings, cram them down, and sort of robbed of his physicality, and he was strong, he's an ex-boxer or cop, I think part of his identity was that he was a very strong man, so it forced him to kind of reassess all those things, which was in a way a good thing. But in the end, there's some of the side effects, Lewy body dementia, these things that, affected Robin Williams and other people can be really devastating. That loss of self and not quite knowing where you stand in any given moment is pretty tough. So I wonder if some of those sort of underlying ideas or reasons we do get sick or sicker is because we're not sort of expressing ourselves or letting things out.
Ryan,
Thank you very much.
for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.